10 reasons why doctors are assholes. Now, many of you have commented down below how much you hate your doctors and how you think your doctors don't communicate well, and also how stupid your doctors are. I'm going to make an argument that 97% of all doctors are actually genuinely nice people and doing a good job, but there's always those people, and I'm going to explain why I think that your doctor is an asshole. Number one, we're not people. When you think about who goes to medical school or osteopathic school or dental school or chiropractic school, most of us are going there because we're science geeks. We're nerds. We're the weird kids that used to like to learn stuff in school as opposed to being the cool kids. Many people become doctors simply because we're good at listening in class, taking a test, regurgitating what we learned onto the test. We get high grades, and that's why we're doctors. Many doctors, I believe, are kind of a low-grade Asperger's. You see, we just don't like you. We would be happiest if we could just take your blood tests, look at the numbers, see that your LDLs are high, give you a statin, and you just don't talk. That would be the best day. But no, instead you gotta start speaking, and that freaks us out and bothers us. It makes us uncomfortable. We become doctors because we're good students, not because of our wonderful, charming personalities. Number two, we have guidelines that we must follow. We, in fact, sometimes feel like we have a gun behind our head. Our job is to be an algorithm for the insurance company or the pharmaceutical companies. This really boils my blood too, but it's the way it is. In fact, did you know that I am licensed in California and I was taught in school how to know when to send someone for an MRI? But there are many health organizations, health maintenance organizations, which are anything but health maintenance organizations, that tell me I am not able to refer people for an MRI. Imagine that, a doctor of chiropractic who suspects that someone has a herniated disc and wants an MRI, or someone has a trauma and you suspect a fracture, but the insurance company tells you you're not able to refer for that procedure and you must refer them to their primary care doctor, who, by the way, can't do it as well. And once they get the appointment 6 weeks from now from their primary care doctor, then they get referred to an orthopedist another 6 to 12 weeks, and then that orthopedist is able to refer them for the MRI. It's just stupid. So if you ever feel as though the doctor doesn't have your best interest at heart and they're just a total asshole, is the reason why is because you're not the one in charge. The employer, the HMO, the pharmaceutical companies are the ones that dictate the algorithm. And if you're seeing a doctor that works for a big group or a big organization, he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. And so sometimes it gets to feel like they're not exactly on your side. Number three, we don't know how to tell you stuff. I'm sure there are doctors that would love to just walk into the room and tell you the truth. That the reason you're having type 2 diabetes, the reason why you're insulin resistant is because you're overweight. And if you were to exercise a lot and eat a whole lot less calories, and it is as simple as that, you can reduce all these problems. But they're not able to tell you that. It's upsetting to people. They often blame the doctors, and doctors learn this. Imagine you're a doctor, and for the last 20 patients, each patient was 120 pounds overweight, and then in walks the 21st patient. What are you going to tell them? What have you learned as a doctor? That people don't change their lifestyle because of a 2-minute conversation with the doctor. They often blame the doctor and then give bad reviews on Yelp and Google, and nobody wants that. That's why they often just kind of prescribe stuff and just walk out of the room because they got 20 people in the waiting room that are the same size. The general attitude that most doctors have is that if lifestyle changes would have changed you, it would have already occurred. Number 4, doctors are not paid what you think they're getting paid. There was a term a long time ago called the Mercedes 80s, and the concept was that literally you could do anything to a patient, send in a bill, and 80% of the bill, no matter what you charged, was going to be paid by the insurance. And it was a way that doctors got uber rich. And at that time, it was just a matter of billing the insurance. But it is not like that anymore. Now, what happens is the insurance companies have cramped down on the amount that we get paid per visit, and now it's really a matter to make money of how many people you can see per hour. Here's another thing to consider is that the pre-med program in your undergraduate takes about 4 years, then medical school takes about 4 years, and then depending on what type of doctor you are, there may be a couple more years. And during these times, you're not earning any money. So consider that most doctors never really earn any money until they're about 30 years old. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example. That was me. I came out of school with over $150,000 of student loans back in the mid-90s. That was crazy back then. The interest rate of one of my student loans was 12%. I hear now most doctors are coming out of school with $300,000 to $400,000 of student loans, and yet they're 30 years old and haven't earned a dime in their profession. I had friends who joined either the military or were firefighters or police officers, and by the time they were 30, they were already 12 years into their profession. They had been earning money for 12 years. They had health benefits, 401ks, vacation time. Here I was, 30 years old. I had none of that. I was in total debt. So doctors only start earning money at a later age. So when they earn money, sure, they earn more money than the average person, but consider that for the first 12 years, they didn't earn any money. In addition to that, most doctors do not have a 401k. They don't have health benefits. That's right, we have to pay for our own health benefits, and there is no real retirement. I have friends that retired at 48 years old after giving 30 years of service to either the armed services or as a police officer or firefighter. They're 48 years old and they keep collecting paychecks, but they never have to work again. It's insane. So doctors earn money, but they don't earn money the way you think they do, and they don't earn as much as you think they do. Number 5, we're also human. People tend to put doctors on a pedestal and think that, we're gods. We're not gods. We're human. Our wife left us. We don't like our kids. We hate the dog. The dog keeps pooping on our carpet. The neighbors are jerks. These things happen to everyone. It doesn't matter what profession you're in. And thus, sometimes we come to work in a bad mood. And sometimes our mood carries over into our profession, and thus people think that we're ashholes. Number 6, doctors don't want to be told how to do their job. And this is extremely common. I see this in the comment section quite a bit, is you telling the doctor what to do. Now, some doctors maybe need to be reminded exactly what to do. However, we don't really care about your opinion or what you learned on TikTok. We have an education, and we want to use our education to help diagnose and figure out what's going wrong with the patient. When I go to a dentist, I don't tell the dentist what I think is wrong with my teeth. I don't argue with him and tell him it's not a cavity, when in fact he takes an x-ray and it is a cavity. He doesn't care about my opinion, and he didn't come to work to hear my opinion about teeth. I came to him for his opinion about the teeth. When I go to a doctor, I want to pay them for their opinion. I don't pay them so that they can hear my opinion. Number 7, they don't know what they don't know. In school, all doctors learned from pretty much the same physiology textbook. And in that physiology textbook, we learned about ketosis and how ketosis is a physiological state where a person is starving, losing muscle mass, and losing fat as a survival mechanism. When the body produces ketones, that is an unhealthy state. it is considered a disease state. So when you come in and you say, I'm eating ketones, or I'm on a ketosis diet where I'm starving myself trying to lose weight, see, we think of that as, gee, that's an unhealthy state. Whereas what you're talking about is a trendy diet that's on YouTube or TikTok. We don't understand what the hell you're talking about, so it's no wonder that when you tell us that you're using a disease state in order to lose weight, we think you're nuts. And so the perception is we're just a bunch of ninny coupon momins. That's from Elf. Number 8, and this is from you guys down in the comments. We're male. Most doctors are male, and males need to be right. I don't apologize for that, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes we're just considered ashholes because we're male. Number 9, we have 20 patients in the waiting room, we're running behind, and we really don't care about your cat's anal fungus. We are often running behind, we're trying to catch up, and very often we just need to do our job and get out of the room. Sometimes that's perceived as being cold and short, but we're trying to fit everyone in during the course of a day. Number 10, this is a big one, and I suspected this, but finally someone came into my office and told me this. It was a person who's an engineer, and they were from somewhere where they're from, when you're born, you're either going to be an engineer or a doctor. In fact, some doctors are doctors, and it wasn't their chosen profession. It was their parents' chosen profession. They were forced into this. They were groomed from the moment they were born to be a doctor, because people put doctors on a pedestal as if they are gods, and there's nothing more fantastic than telling people at a party, my son's a doctor, as opposed to, my son works, well, he doesn't work. He sits home, he's in our garage, probably smoking a bong load and masturbating. I'm sure those parents are proud as well, but most people want their children to be engineers, lawyers, or doctors. Not everybody's a doctor for perfect reasons. And if that wasn't enough, I'm gonna give you some bonuses. Number 11, and people never think about this, but within the professions, it's well known, is doctors get sued all the time, and it stresses us out, and it makes us very moody when we start seeing patients the next day. We get sued quite a bit. In fact, I know an OBGYN that literally has 1 or 2 lawsuits per year. That's insane. When I was in school, they often said that if you don't get sued, you're not a successful doctor, because statistically, at least in California, everyone gets sued. And the reason why is because the lawyers know that malpractice is considered what's called low-hanging fruit, meaning that if someone goes, oh, you hurt me, they get a lawyer, you sue the doctor for $1 million, they settle out of court for $50,000, $60,000, $100,000, and then the lawyer gets 30 to 40%, the patient gets the rest. It's easy money because doctors don't want that on their record. So very often lawsuits get settled out of court and non-disclosed. It sucks, but it's the way it goes. Imagine if every little time you either made a little boo-boo or a mistake, or worse, you were just accused of a mistake, and every time at your job you got sued. Would you be in a good mood every time you go to work? Probably not. Number 12, in the healthcare profession, we know stuff that you don't know, and this is troubling. In fact, you look at doctors as real smart people, but we know the truth. Let me give you some examples. Now, some of them I can't tell you because the video would be taken off social media, and I would be in deep, deep trouble if I told you. But these are things that are very mild and no one's gonna get in trouble for telling you, is that every time you come in and you want an x-ray, that the more x-rays you get throughout your life, that you are accumulating damaging effects of ionizing radiation. Now, I know that we tell you it's safe because otherwise you wouldn't have an x-ray, but we ourselves We don't want that many x-rays in our life. Also, did you know that a lot of medical procedures, in fact, most medical procedures, are not supported by science? Remember when, "I am science, never question science"? That was stupid, because science is an ever-changing environment that things we think we know now, later on, we realize were mistakes. Most procedures in healthcare are done because there's no other choice. It's the best guesstimate of what we know to do today, and it becomes the standard of care. That doesn't mean it was supported by science. I love it when you go to parties and go, "Well, is there any research to support that? Is there any randomized controlled, double-blind clinical trials?" No, the procedure is just done because it's been done for many years. And doctors know this. We know this. We're not stupid. We're the ones that are doing the procedures. And that's why very often when a doctor gives you a procedure, but yet they don't get the procedure themselves, there's a reason. Also, doctors realize that the pharmaceutical companies are the ones that drive the research and push the drugs. Very often, we give you drugs, we don't want to take them ourselves. We don't like what's being forced down our throats or being quack, quack, quack told to us from our employer to tell you, and then telling you that we know what we're doing. We see the writing on the wall. We don't want to take this stuff. We don't want to ingest it. No frickin' way. We see the BS, but we have to sell you the confidence, and we know that, and this is why there's so much stress within the healthcare fields that it's frustrating. We end up being perceived as assholes. Now, this video was partially meant to be kind of tongue-in-cheek and in a response to all the comments that I get in my YouTube channel. But if you think that there is something that I missed, let me know in the comment section down below. And like I said, this is not a bash on other doctors. I was largely talking about myself as well as others and my experience when going to doctors. I don't get it when I go into a doctor's office and they're just literally rude to me, but that's the way it goes. I understand. Like I said in the beginning, I'm gonna give a conservative estimate and say 97% of doctors are genuinely nice people. They try to do the best job that they can. They're doing the best they can with the knowledge that they have, and who can be blamed for anything else? So I'm not bashing other doctors. I'm mainly talking about other doctors as well as myself, that we can be perceived as being a little quirky, a little different, a little moody, an asshole if you want to call it that. So I tried to make this video to give some explanation as to why that might be your perception. But give your doctor a chance to do the right thing, because they're trying to do the best they can with what they got.